All right, guys, I should be live on YouTube as well as on Facebook. This is a new program I've been trying to use, and I hope it's working. I'm never 100%, but I'm pretty sure because I see YouTube comments here, and there's a little differentiation between the YouTube comments and the Facebook comments. So anyway, I do hope it's working on both platforms. I certainly aim to please to try to get this information out to as many people as possible. Before I start, a couple shameless plugs. I want to make sure that you guys know that I will be at the International Association of Canine Professionals conference starting tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow, not really. Tomorrow I'll be there, but I'm not going to be doing anything there. And Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. I give a speech. I hope those of you who are coming to the conference will come see my speech. I always wonder why people want to see me speak. There's so much of me on YouTube. But anyway, I'm extremely flattered and honored to be a part of a great organization that helps keep dog training balanced and fair. So I'm very, very much looking forward to that. Those of you who are first time checking in here on my YouTube channel, this is a Q&A that I do very regularly, a few times a month, to give people more information about dogs, dog training, dog behavior, living with dogs, dog issues, and stuff like that. I only ask that you be respectful of people. Don't ask too many questions. We usually do get quite a few people in the room or in the rooms. And I want to make sure that everybody gets a fair shot. It's a little bit less than an hour that I go for, so I try to get to as many questions as I can. I go in order. If you were here first, you'll get in first. If you are not a subscriber to my channel, I ask you to please, you'll have to exit out, hit the subscribe, make sure you are a subscriber to my channel so that you'll always know when I'm ready to do these lives, which I said I do at least twice a month. If you're a member of my site, robertcabral.com, you get an extra hour at the end of this, so you get a little bit more, and those questions almost always all get answered because there's a lot less people in those chats. These chats can have anywhere from 200 to 300 people in them. The other chats can usually only have about 50 to 100, so that's a little bit easier for you to swallow if you're going to be asking some questions. I ask you that if you have a question, please put a question mark in front of it. Now, if you don't, it's very hard for me to get to it because sometimes chats get in here. People start talking amongst each other. Already have close to 120 people in here. I'm, by the way, always very honored that you choose me to work with to train your dog. There's a lot of choices out there, some very good ones, some very bad ones. I certainly hope that I can help you with insight to things. So, okay, it is working. This is fantastic. I can see Facebook and YouTube is working. That makes me so happy. The software I'm using is called Ecamm Live. I really like it a lot. I have no skin in the game, but I'm just telling you what I use. I'm sure there's people out there copying what I'm doing, so they should know the proper equipment that I use too. So all of you guys saying hi, thank you so much. Michigan, Brazil, UK. I mean, I love it all over the world. I really love to hear that. I always like to hear when you guys have questions, where you're from. It's always more fun for me to see where you guys are from. So let me get to some of the questions. First one, this Mr. Warlock has been sitting in here for a while. 8-month-old Mally, very excited before training, whines and barks in a crate. When I train my older female, whines and barks when he's not sure what to do. What's the advice? Lots of love to your pack. Well, lots of love to you too, Mr. Warlock. You know, that's leaking. He's super excited to do something. That's a really nice thing to have. What you might want to do is so that he doesn't drive himself crazy and get too tired before the training, which can very much happen, is put him in another area. Like if you're at a park, move the car, put a cover over the crate, back the car in so the dog can't see, or pull the car forward in. Because the biggest issue you're going to have is the dog's just going to tire themselves out. So by the time it comes to training, the dog's going to be exhausted, and that's not fun. And if you're in your home, put the dog in maybe in a laundry room or something where the dog can't see and it can't hear as much, and that'll help you quite a bit. Let's see. Nick Vidmar, right there. You only say N, but I know it's you, Nick. Robert, when friends and family come to the house, Oscar gets so excited to the point where he barks and howls. I try to protect him and tell people not to engage. How can I help him calm down? Well, you can't. He's winding himself up, and these are the behaviors that we start to have trouble with very excitable dogs. Maya is one of those kind of dogs, and she does that all the time. What I do with her is I tell her, lie down, and then I stay real stern on her. I stay, nope, lie down. And like we have a friend comes over every once in a while, and whenever she comes over, I always make sure, because Maya gets really excited to see her. I tell her, lie down, and the person is asked to not pay attention to her, not pet her, or whatever. And if I really stay on it for a few days, Maya gets it. But again, it's one of those things. It's not the end of the world. So you got to focus on the people and focus on the environment. Sometimes it's easy to do, sometimes it's not. Okay, Macedonian Gangster. What sport is better for beginners, IGP or French ring? I would probably say IGP because there's probably more help available. There's more beginner things you can do. French ring is very hard on the dog. It's very hard on the handler. It's a very intensive sport. I don't have a lot of experience with it, only having watched and heard about it. But IGP I did for several years, and I really, really love the sport. I would probably go with IGP. That's my personal choice. Let's see. Hi, Robert, Michigan. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Rob. David, first time you caught this. Well, welcome aboard. This is my first Sarah Stamper Wilson, first comment from Facebook. So I love seeing this is working on Facebook as well, because you guys kind of get the short end of the stick. I have this love-hate relationship with Facebook, honestly, because I think there's so much drama, and I hate, I mean, the only thing I hate on Facebook is Nextdoor, which I don't even do. Janet has it on her phone. It's just all this gossip. But I'm so glad you're here. This is really what it's about, is using social media for the greater good of helping yourself and helping dogs, not gossiping and slamming people. Look at the Negev Desert in southern Israel. And I love hearing that. Thank you, Daniel. Shalom to you. Any suggestions for a good IGP trainer in the Netherlands? Boy, I'd have a hard time giving you a good IGP trainer here. I would contact the SV and see, or contact a local club. Just go to some local clubs and see who's there. That's really what I would do for your thing. Okay, Macedonian Gangster, you have a question here. I plan to buy a working line GSD female puppy and raise and train her for sports. Can you give me some tips how to raise and train her and develop her to be a sport dog? I'll give you the best advice that I've heard. Now remember, a lot of the advice I give you is not necessarily based on my knowledge, I should say my hands-on knowledge of sport, but also, I'm a sponge. I love talking to people, and I love hearing things. And there's so many people who know so much more about dogs, especially dog sports, than me, that I just start to ask questions and ask questions and ask questions, like my interview with Peter and Connie Sherk, my interview with Frank Phillips, my continuing dialogues with people like Frank. I always ask all these questions because I want to know. And here's the best thing I found out through the research I've done over 10 plus years. One is, don't put too much on the puppy. Let the puppy be a puppy. Don't start doing bite work and defensive work and prey work and all that early on in the dog, because it'll destroy the dog. Most dogs can't handle it, especially at an early age. If they get more mature, they can, but putting the pressure on them before they're ready is going to destroy the dog. And you run that chance. So even if the dog could have made it, you might destroy them. Now, if it's a really solid dog, yeah, you can do whatever you want with it. And people will say, well, then that's not the right dog. Here's the thing. Not every dog is bred or has the genetics to go to a regional, national, or world championship. But just about every dog, as far as a Malinois German Shepherd, should be able to do the sport of IGP. It's not a super complicated sport. I've heard this from almost everybody I've talked to. It's how you approach it. It's how you introduce it, and that you must be fair, especially to the puppy. Hello to the Philippines. Okay, Justin, look at this. From Facebook, and you already know the rule about the question mark. I love that. Is the slip lead your go-to for reactive lunging? In both Max, the Akita, and Sunny, the Black German Shepherd, you use a fur saver and flat collar for the strong leash pops. Repositions, even though they have... yes, the slip lead is my go-to. Now remember, a fur saver is the same thing as a slip lead, essentially, because it's still a constricting collar. I don't ever use a flat collar. Maybe a dog that I work with had a flat collar on and I couldn't get to a correction in time, but I don't ever opt to correct a dog on a flat collar. I think it's a very unfair way, a very negative way to correct the dog. So yes, slip lead is my number one go-to. And like I always say, I am, really labeled as the guy with e-collars and prong collars and all this stuff and these aversive tools. First of all, they're not aversive. If used properly, a prong collar is a much easier correction on the dog than a flat collar could possibly be. Um, what's really important to focus on, really critical, and I want to really stress this, is in the 10 plus years, to over 12 years actually, that I worked in shelters and doing seminars, doing workshops, doing training, filming the entire shelter dog training course that's available online. I never used any tool except for a slip lead. I used a slip lead and a long line, and they were both slip leads. They were both, just regular noose leads. And with that, I was able to, pretty much perform miracles from what people would think that you need all these other tools. I love the tools. The tools make the job easier. It's kind of like this, learn to drive on a manual transmission car with no power steering. And then when you get some money, buy yourself a nice car with an automatic transmission and power steering, and you're still going to be able to drive it. But if you learn to drive a car on a Mercedes with all the features, and then you need to go back and start shifting gears and working a clutch and working a non-power steering, you're going to have a hard time. So, how do you give a Belgian Malinois puppy a good structure to behave well with other people and other dogs? Simple. I control the dog. I control the dog. I control the dog's environment. I control everything about the dog. That's your responsibility. If you're going to take a dog on or puppy on, especially a puppy, you must control that dog's environment. You have to make sure he doesn't get into poison in the house. You have to make sure he doesn't chew electrical cords. You have to make sure he doesn't run in the street and get hit by a car. You have to make sure of all these things. And if you have a hiccup, you make a mistake and God forbid something happens, you rectify it and you make sure it never happens again, because stuff will happen. Okay, Paul, I haven't been putting the questions up there. I should be doing that. Paul Adams, what is your opinion on gentle leaders? I hate them. Maddie, and I want to be really abrupt with these things. I just don't like any of those kind of tools. Maddie says, can you tell me what you recommend for when selling puppies for temperament and contract, so to speak? What have you seen? Now, if you're asking me this question, hang on, why am I looking at this? Okay. I thought it was important. I'll get to. Let me do this. So if you're looking to sell a dog and you're asking, just leave it there. I want to get it. Janet found a really good one. I want to make sure I get that. She'll scan through them like an eagle and find the best one. So sometimes I pass over them, and I apologize for that. If you're selling a dog, I hope you're not, because if you're asking me a question of what to look for you selling the dog, I would caution you, please, guys, don't breed a dog. I'll tell you, let me give you the lowdown. If you breed your dog and you are going to sell those puppies, here's things you should do. One, you should make sure that the female and the male have health clearances, that they're at least hips and elbows certified, that you know at least 2 generations back something about the dogs. Right? You should know the temperament of the dog. You should definitely know the temperament of the female who's raising those puppies. Now, here's the most important thing. If you breed a dog, and I'm going to catch a lot of guff for this, and just bring it on, because I love that. If you sell a dog, you, the person selling the dog, are responsible for that dog until it takes its last breath. You are. That's it. So that means if you have a litter of 7 puppies, and at some point 4 or 5 of them come back because the owners didn't really want a German Shepherd, they didn't really understand the drive of the Malinois, the dog got old, or they moved, or the dog pooped or barked or got sick or whatever, you take that dog back, you keep that dog for the rest of your life. So this is why I don't breed dogs, because if I was going to breed dogs, I would make that guarantee that at any point I'll take that dog back anytime until the dog takes its last breath, and I'll care for it. I'm not going to take it back and just kill it, which a lot of breeders will do. That's the number one thing. And I can tell you that Tasha, the woman who bred Goofy, does that, right? That's her policy. So when you get a dog through somebody like that, you know that you're covered, but it's also a obscene amount of applications and background checks and this and that. And, somebody said to me once, I remember I was at a Monty Ring Club, and the guy said, well, I was buying my dog, and the guy asked me for my driver's license. I was like, screw you, I'm paying cash for the dog. Well, no, it's screw you because you're a moron. Right? The very least the person asks you for is a driver's license, because you're taking a life. You're taking an 8-week-old puppy away from its mother, and you're going to be responsible for that dog. Brother, I would ask you so many questions. I'd be up your rear end and out your throat finding information. I'd want to know everything about you before you took one of my puppies. So contract should be that temperament. I think I kind of gave you the runaround. I wouldn't buy a dog from somebody who wouldn't be asking me a million questions, who'd want to know everything about me, who'd want to know that I have the finances and everything to take care of that. Janet's question here is, no, it's not Janet's question. Jan doesn't ask questions online. Huh? This is Hugh again? That's somebody different. This is, oh. Is it effective to use a prong collar when dogs? That's what you circled. Okay. Oh, no, sorry. Hi, Maddie. Okay. You got to circle lower and I saw the higher one. Sorry. Hi, sorry. Not registered. Okay. That you can't do that, right? You're selling mutts. If that's what you want, if somebody wants that, then go to the shelter, right? There's no better dog than a shelter dog. And here's the thing, guys, if you're looking to buy a dog and you say, oh, this guy down the street had a German Shepherd and a Malinois and he sold him. He's not selling a German Shepherd and a Malinois. He's selling you a mutt. He's selling you a mixed dog because more than likely they don't know anything about the dog. Now, there is the rare exception. People say, oh, the military is using Malinois and German Shepherds and stuff like that. The military breeding programs are super, super strict. They're looking for super specific traits. Okay, they're looking for something that you don't want in your dog at home. Take a look at those dogs. That's really, really, really critical. Albania. That might be the first comment from Albania from Lely. Okay, Ivani. I have a 5-month-old mixed breed of Malinois and German Shepherd. There we go. What was I just talking about? What things can I expect? Now, I certainly hope that you got this dog and you rescued it and you thought, okay, I feel bad for the dog. It was bred on accident or for a stupid reason. I don't know what you can expect, right? Because people always say, well, when I get a Labradoodle, I'm getting the best part of the poodle and the best part of the Labrador. And maybe you are. Or maybe you're getting the worst part. Or maybe you're getting half and half. Here's what you can expect. I would look at Malinois and I would look at German Shepherd. And I would say you can expect both of these things because you don't know what to expect. If you breed a German with a French person, what do you expect? A good cook or a good cop? I don't know. But you might not get either. You might get a horrible cop and a horrible chef. That's the thing. You don't really know. What I would prepare myself for with this breed or this mix of breeds is a high drive dog, an intensive dog, a dominant dog, a dog with either very strong nerves or very sharp nerves. Because Malinois have a lot thinner nerves than German Shepherds. But the opposite can leak through, right? You could get a dog with good nerves and good drives, or you can get a dog with lower drives and thinner nerves. So you've got to prepare yourself for everything. I don't want to get overly technical in this, but it's, Okay, here's another one. I already got that one. Okay, so let's see. Canada we got in here. Scotland, good. Daniel, since kids hooked a stone over the fence, my dog don't like. I think you mean threw a stone over. My dogs don't like to go in the yard. Well, you got to get them back in the yard. That's it. This happens, right? Stuff happens. The dog steps on a nail and doesn't want to go outside. The dog gets bit by a bee and doesn't want to go near that part of the yard. You got to get over it. It's like when you have a kid, they fall off their bicycle. What's the old thing? Dust them off and put them back on the bike. People, as much as I say I love dogs, I do. My whole life is dogs, and Janet, my whole life is dogs. We came back from a really great vacation, which we hadn't had a vacation in years, because one of our dogs got sick. Jimmy got sick. All you guys follow me on social media know that. He's much better now. He's perfect now, so no need to ask. But you just got to get back at it. You go right back at it. Every time one of my dogs got injured, make sure they're fine, put them right back out. Okay, Laura, you didn't get the email. You're supposed to put a question mark in the question. So, my well-behaved 8-month-old Papillon has a pause moment of up to 45 seconds before responding to a command. She sits and stares at me as if processing the info. She's not good, and I think food motivated is just unusual. No, a Papillon is a really good dog. I've seen a lot of them do really well in obedience, but your dog may just take some time to digest it. So motivate the dog. If you're very calm with the dog goes to a calm state. Get the dog really excited. In an excited state, put the commands in, keep the training short, and remember it's an 8-month-old puppy. Okay, Maddie Kiley, how do you screen out irresponsible owners? Okay, Maddie, I'm going to tell you, I can't consult with you on, because you've asked about 3 questions now. I'll tell you what I would do. Just ask questions. about the people who want to get your puppies. If you guys have, please don't breed your dogs. I'm not being facetious to you, Maddie, but you know, if you have a litter on the ground and you're asking these questions, your ship has sailed. You know, you've made a huge mistake in doing this, a huge mistake, because you're not. And again, I know what's going to happen. I got a call from somebody the other day. Oh, you know, I had this dog and I didn't think to spay her because she was too old. And then my friend came over and my dog got pregnant. And then they're a mix between these two breeds. And they had two puppies. And, you know, I didn't want to give either one of them away. Now one of the puppies is biting my son and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's BS. It's really crap. You did a stupid, stupid thing. First of all, I can tell you something. I've got two intact males. They don't go anywhere near females. Even if the females are spayed, they don't go. And I know is spayed, so they don't go anywhere near it. You need to make sure, I would say, find some people you know who love dogs, give them one of the dogs, and give them this caveat. If at any time, at any point in this dog's life, you need to give this dog back to me, give it back to me. Don't put it in the shelter. Don't kill it. Don't give it away. Don't do anything. I'll take the dog back. Save your money, because it's kind of like having a kid. For 18 years, you made a decision to get pregnant, to have a baby, and now you need to support that kid. And if you're a father, a guy, and you did it, then you have a responsibility for 18 years to support that kid. That's it. That's your lot in life. That's what you ended up with. When I bought Goofy, I said, okay, from now until the day he does, I may have to give up things. Maybe I have to sell my car at some point. But I would do that. I would sell my car to take care of my dog. And that's what you got to do. And that's all I can tell you. I'm not going to talk any more about that stuff, Maddie. I'm sorry, but it's tough love. I can't appease you and say, oh, well, you made a mistake. It's you did a really foolish thing. So do the best to rectify it, and that's it. Hugh Manson Warner. How do I give Belgian Malinois puppy a good structure to behave well with other people and dogs? I don't want it to be aggressive against others. Well, then socialize it. Make it nice. Make it positive. There's no dog that's just going to be, the very smallest dog is going to be aggressive out of the womb, you know. Good socialization, good experiences, and limit those experiences. The biggest mistake people make is they do too much. They have the dog meet like 20 different people. Well, one of those people is going to be a moron and do something stupid. They have them meet 20 different dogs. Well, one of those dogs is going to be a moron and do something stupid. You need to know the people who are going to meet your dog, and every experience has to be good. If you can only get 3 good experiences, that's all your dog gets, but every one of them, 100% of them are good. You got to see that your dogs, the dogs your dog meets are good, that they're solid. If you can only get your dog to meet 2 dogs, that's all they meet. Don't let them meet dogs that are going to be pushy or aggressive. That's it. Okay, New Jersey, Northern Ireland. I love it. Love and Light from Milwaukee. I love it. Maryland. Okay, Christopher. After this one, Christopher, after Christopher's comment, I'm not taking any more unless you have a question mark in front of it. Please, please, please put question marks in front of it, because I can't just read comments here. We're up to 213 people in the room. And a couple just left, I guess, because I ticked somebody off, which is fine. Christopher says, Rob, from Maryland, we have 2 working line GSDs, a male and a female. Can you talk about door manners and how to brush up them, not competing with one another to get out the door for activity? Well, Goofy and Maya rush out the door, go for a walk because they get into the garage and they get leashed up and everything like that. You can do things like, teach. If you only have 2, it's easier. We have 4. Put them on a place in other sides and call them one by one. It's a game Janet plays all the time. It works really, really nicely. You lay them down and you say, okay, Goofy, come. And then Maya, no, Maya, you stay. And then Maya, you come. Okay. And you can play that game at feeding, for affection, for door manners, and all that stuff. It's a really, really, really great game to play. Okay. Now I will just take questions that have question marks like that, because that's going to make it easier for me to go through them. Okay, naturally, I think that is. Our 7-month-old French Bulldog is very reactive to any dog, which is, by the way, French Bulldogs are very cute. It's not my type of dog, but they're very cute. People really like them. They're notoriously reactive to people and dogs, notoriously. It's not uncommon. In person or on TV, it's hard to redirect and break him out of his crazy frenzy. Sometimes treats don't work. Well, first of all, treats are not a way to get a dog out of. I'm assuming that was your thumbs down naturally when I said, French Bulldogs notoriously aggressive. But here's the thing: you tune into my channel, you tune into my chats, you get the truth. Yeah, a lot of you don't like the truth, and that's cool. But you'll never leave my channel and say, oh, he kind of blew smoke up my rear. No, that's not what I do. This is the truth. I can tell you, Malinois, I love Malinois more than any other breed, notoriously aggressive. I love Labradors more than most any other breed, notoriously not aggressive, right? I'm telling you the truth. That's it. I have a Malinois, Jan has Labrador. Her dogs there's not an issue there, right? My dog's German Shepherd Malinois, they have it. They have that underlying. So you need to work on structure. Treats are not the way to get your dog to not be aggressive. I hate nothing more than people who try to lure a dog out of a behavior. Like, oh no, come here. That's BS. Complete crap. Don't do that. Treats are a reward. They're a lure for a puppy. They're not a lure anti-aggression. They're a lure for shaping, sits, downs, come, stand, whatever. Then they become a reward. They are not a way to keep a dog from being aggressive. Walk your dog. Get your dog out. Movement. That movement will get the dog to disperse that negative vibe. Work on basic obedience in a distraction-free environment. Then move the dog into the distraction at a distance. And that's what you do. And you do it over and over and over until the dog dies. Okay, Craig Ellis. My alibi will be undergoing surgery of a torn ligament in both knees. He's two. I did nothing rigorous or intensive training of any sort. Just a walk 2 times a day, simply genetics. Vet thinks genetic. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm surprised he's doing both. I mean, if he's doing a TPLO surgery, I mean, I think that's you will end up doing both legs notoriously. Now, Maya got lucky. We did one of hers, and Balfour, an amazing orthopedic surgeon friend of mine, said more than likely you'll end up doing the other one too. But I didn't, because I gave her lots and lots and lots of rest. And don't beat yourself up. The fact that you're doing the surgery, kudos to you. God bless you for doing it. I think it's fantastic. What I don't want you to do is beat yourself up, because sometimes the genetics, they have weaker joints. That's it. Let's see. Team Lemon Moi Moi. How to motivate or introduce your dog to Frisbee. He's food motivated but doesn't want to play with a Frisbee. Well, the one thing you can do is you can introduce him, take the Frisbee and put it around his food. Take the Frisbee and let him sniff it, show him a treat, throw it, lure him to bring it back when it does, give him the treat. Some dogs don't like toys, right? Jimmy does not like toys. Jimmy loves food. You can so what I would do is get some soft, like maybe some pasty kind of meat, and I would put it on the Frisbee, and I would throw the Frisbee so that when the dog gets to the Frisbee, he can start licking it off, and then when the dog brings the Frisbee back, do that. You're never going to force a dog to like a game. Just not going to happen. Those are the little things I would use to kind of get the dog to initiate something, or to show some behavior towards the object, but it's not going to be something that you're going to, if the dog doesn't like things that move, it's just not going to happen. That's funny. Janet, God save the Queen. Very funny. Barbara, I'm from Michigan. I have a 14-week-old Malinois female pup, also a 16-year-old Staffy. How do I curb pup from bite playing with my Staffy? She won't leave her alone. That's, here's the good side and the bad side. First of all, you did a nice thing for your older dog because you brought a puppy and it kind of rejuvenates the dog. But what you really have to be critically aware of is that your puppy needs to be crated and should only be interacting with your other dog supervised, so that you can kind of see if, when you see that going on too much, you can pull the dog back, put the dog in a crate, and do that. Really critically important. Please make sure the dog builds a relationship with you more than the other dog, because that dog's not going to live forever. And when that dog passes away, and I'm not trying to be a downer here, when that dog passes away, you must be there for your dog, right? You must be the person that can take over. So form your relationship with your dog first. All of our dogs are really bonded with us first, and then the other pack. And as much as Dwayne loves Jimmy, he loves Janet more. Okay, Joseph from Facebook. Wow, that's a long comment. I have a 5-month-old Malinois. I have had previous experience with the breed and have been successful with my obedience. My question is, this particular dog is a little more stubborn. If she has something she is not supposed to have, she tries to run away from me with it. When I try to take the object, sometimes she wants to be aggressive. How can I fix this? She's very mouthy. Well, first of all, okay, so she's a 5-month-old Malinois. That's what you expect. Even Goofy, when he gets things, he gets very possessive over them, and he's almost 13. He's 12 and a half. That's the breed. That's really what you would want in this dog, is that possessive nature over it. What I would probably do is don't let the dog get something they're not supposed to get. Easier said than done, but it's actually pretty easy to do. Don't leave things laying around, especially things like socks and toys and shoes and stuff like that they like to pick up at that age. But when he gets something, then have something that, like a really yummy treat, like a piece of hot dog or something, and shove it in the dog's mouth. Hey, take this, boom. And then, or give them another toy, something they like more. Always have something the dog likes more, but you're going to need to trade to be fair. Trading is a fair way to get a dog to give something up. And besides that, just really watch what the dog is getting. Let's see. Hugh. Okay, you already got a question. I'm going to give you this one because I made a mistake. What are the essentials I need to train a Belgian Malinois? Like what commands or behaviors? That's really such a basic question. I mean, if you got a Malinois and you're asking me that question, I'm not insulting you, but you need to really be aware. Come, stay, leave it. Every dog should know those. Well, let's see. What else we got here? Louisiana. All right, I'm glad I'm somebody's hero. Here we go. Maddie, you got enough. I gave you enough. Here, Barack. Barack, I always think you're like Barack, but you're not. My 5-month-old Malinois puppy. She's afraid of people. She usually ignores them, but if they try to talk to her or touch her, she starts barking. How can I socialize her? By socializing her. That's how you can socialize her, by socializing her. So when I socialize a dog and I think the dog is a little bit socially awkward, then I don't let people talk to the dog. I tell people, hey, my dog, I'm trying to socialize my dog. Please don't look at my dog. Talk to me. I get the dog in the presence of other people. I'll shove treats in the dog's mouth while we're around other people. I'll bring a toy with me when I'm around other people. And I'll really ignore the people and focus on my dog so that the dog sees that there's nothing to worry about with these people. It's the boogeyman theory. So you end up having people looking at your dog and talking to your dog, and your dog feels that pressure and doesn't know what to do, and the dog gets a little bit freaked out by it. It's not the end of the world, but it's something you can definitely fix with a 5-month-old puppy. Just get the puppy out there. There's no medicine. There's no secrets. This is what I always say about dog training. You know what dog training is about? Repetition. Find it, do it, and repeat it. Doesn't matter if you're following me or any other good dog trainer. I was just going to say dog trainer, but any other good dog trainer. A lot of dog trainers are out there telling you that they've got a secret method. There's no bigger BS than a dog trainer who has a secret method, especially for basic obedience, stuff like that. I haven't seen anything really that out of the ordinary in dog training in the many different things I've seen. It's pretty much basic. Might be a little bit more creative, but it's pretty basic. Let's see here. Blissful Canine. What would you suggest when it comes to working with a dog that is completely terrified of the world upon leaving the house? Usually stuff not working. Thank you, brother. So that is a very good question. I believe you're a handler. So I would look at this from the perspective of building a relationship with the dog in the house, doing things that are right in the house, then opening the door, working things there. This is a progressive desensitization issue. Then working into the front yard. When the dog does something good, come inside. I'd be working inside and outside, like within a couple feet of the front door. And I would break it down. And then I would start feeding this dog only outside, away from the house, so that the dog would start to see things. But it would be these little pictures that you need to paint for the dog to get the dog to understand that we're working through these things real fairly, really fairly, and slowly, but you've got to be structured. You've got to be strong enough to say, no, we're going to do this. We're only going to eat, over the threshold of the front door day 1, day 2, in the driveway, day 3 at the end of the driveway, day 4 at the neighbor's house, front yard, or something like that. You must break the dog through these things, because there is no dog in the world that will be happy with those crazy fears. And at some point, they're going to have to leave the house. What if they have to go to a vet? What if, You move. What if, a million things happen? We'd never paint that picture. We always kind of make these excuses for our dogs, and it's a really sad thing. Okay, Felicia, Tennessee here. I have a 1.5-year-old Malinois German Shepherd who's been trained in protection work. I'm now in need of a service dog. My trainer said he could switch over. How hard would this be on my dog, or is it better to keep him in protection and get a puppy to start service dog work? Well, that depends on the service. I don't know. I mean, if it's like a service dog, like you need the dog to pick up things and bring them to you, like a mobility assistance dog, a protection dog can surely do that because they're very stable. They're very good. It's obviously a very nice dog. But if you're talking like a real like service dog, it's a whole different ballgame. The dog it's like, can you take your service dog and make him a protection dog? Probably not. You need to determine what that service is. And I'm not asking you to put that up here. I don't need to know that. But you need to see. I certainly would have a harder time telling you to bring another dog into your house, especially a puppy. And if you need, this is always the question I have, and no insult to you, but if you have a situation where you need a service dog, how can you get a puppy and wait a year training that dog to perform the service to give you the service? Don't you need that service now? It's always like I always see people at Gold's Gym with all these service dogs, and then one day they don't have their service dogs, and I feel like going up to them and saying, "Oh my God, are you okay? Because you don't have your service dog today." Like blind people always need a service dog. Like they can't get to the point where they're going without that dog. They're hinged on it. So my position would be, yeah, I would probably try to get your dog to do those simple, if they are simple things, maybe mobility assistance dog or something like that, then yeah, a dog like that could certainly do that. Okay, Cody, I'm skipping over a lot of you guys who have asked a ton of questions already. Cody says, suggestions for a puppy getting ears cropped. Can his training resume as normal, working towards off leash, 12 weeks old? I mean, you can I don't know what you're going to be doing with them, but yes, training can certainly work. I'm not a big fan of cropping ears or tails, but I would say, sure. The tension or the pressure, the pain is on the ears. I mean, you're not really doing anything with the ears during training. So I would absolutely continue training. Only looking for questions with question marks. That's it. Okay, like this one, David Proven. My 14-week-old working GSE is very eager to meet every dog. How do I get more focus? What level of correction can I give him? It's not about correction, right? When a 14-week-old puppy wants to meet other dogs, he's doing something real nice. He's really trying to do something nice. He's a social dog. You must be more interesting than the other dog. You don't have to be harder. You don't have to correct the dog. You don't have to be mean to the dog. That's the wrong picture. That makes the dog even more say, well, God, you're just such a jerk. I want to be with this dog, right? You need to be more interesting. So if the dog starts, eyeing over to the other dog, hey, look, hey, get some treats. Come here. Yeah, good boy. What a good boy. Bring his favorite toy. Hey, what's that? Let's play. So that the dog starts to, when my dog sees another dog and I go, hey, they look at me like, oh, something great's going to happen, right? Corrections can't enter the realm of dog training until we have something to correct. That means the dog must know they're doing something wrong or disobedient or obstinate or disrespectful. We don't correct a dog for trying to be social. That's a bad picture. Okay, Riggs. My Malinois just turned 4 months old today. Well, happy birthday. When we go on walks, he keeps biting the leash. What kind of approach training should I focus on to correct this behavior? Greetings from the Philippines. He's trying to play with you. He's trying to get you to go faster. He's trying to get you to tug with him. Use 2 leashes. When he starts tugging on one, drop that one, pick up the other one. Give him a little, give him some cookies. Tell him, hey, knock it off. You can even give him a little scruff on the neck. Hey, pay attention. Because you don't want the dog, especially a Malinois, learning to bite on a leash, because they will do that out of frustration. They can bite through the leash. And this is one of the situations where corrections are more necessary because there's not a way to get them off of it. You don't want the dog in play mode when you are walking them. If you can actually get them in a backyard, when they pull on the leash, I just drop the leash and then I run away from them so that there's no tension in that leash. It's the tension in the leash that makes them pull on it. So that if you can remove that tension, then you're better off. Okay, Maddie, you've asked the same question about potential breeders way too many times. I'm just going to say, if you want to be in here and listen, I loved having you in here. But if you're not, somebody's going to block you. One of the admins is going to block you. So please don't do that. Shanaka Guru, Ganu, that's you're an explosive handler. Thank you for your service. I love that. Sylvia Gutierrez, how many times a day and how many minutes I should be training basic stuff to my 3-month-old bully puppy? She already sits, stays, puts in front of her food and doors, but still pees inside. Well, the peeing inside is a whole different picture, right? It has nothing to do with obedience training. That has to do with conditioned behaviors. And what you should probably do for that is more crate training and keeping an eye on the dog. If the dog gets really wound up, if you're not keeping an eye on the dog, where the dog is inside. When Janet brought Dwayne and she had him within her eye shot at every single minute of the day and had him in a crate when she wasn't watching him, took him outside numerous times and made a big deal when he peed. Good boy, good potty, and just conditioned those behaviors. As far as training, my take is always 10 minutes. 5-10 minutes, 3-4 times a day. That's all the dog needs. And just make it fun. Okay, David, I'm going to give you this one because I just kind of looked at it. My dog likes to always be ahead at the end of the leash, but doesn't quite pull. We're using a prong. Is it too much to ask of a dog to stay behind you on a leash walk? There are leaders and there are laggers. Those are the two kinds of dogs in the world, right? Jimmy is a lagger. Dwayne is a leader. That's it. He's going to be in front of you. Get a shorter leash. That's what I would do. And I'll tell you, I know that sounds snide. It's not snide at all. Whatever length of leash you give the dog, this is why when people get a 30-foot flexi, I say, well, why don't you get a 150-foot flexi? Because it's so much easier. The dog will always walk at the end of it. If he's a leader, he will always walk at the end of that leash because that's where he finds his place. So I would probably suggest you get a 4-foot leash and just give him little taps and bring him back. But, Goofy and Meyer are both leaders, and that's just what they are. If I'm doing competitive obedience or doing training, of course I can get them to walk next to me. But when we're on a walk, they want to be up front a little bit. It's not the end of the world. Kelsey from Facebook. See how there's a little thing down there? It says there's got the little blue for Facebook and the red for YouTube. I'm so happy this is working. This just made my day. I'm so remind me later, Janet, how happy I am about this. I'm just like later when I'm ticked off about something, Janet will say, "Don't you remember how happy you were that Facebook and YouTube actually worked together for the first time?" Because last time I tried to do it, it was a disaster. It didn't work at all. So Kelsey says, 18-month-old intact female who had a rough start and was left on a 10-foot chain in a dirt backyard. Owner gave her to me, and she just has this one huge thing where she gets overly excited and grabs my other dog's neck and yanks. It's definitely not aggressive, but it does cause tussles. Any advice as far as helping her understand it's not okay? Well, sure. It's simple. You just make it not okay. What I would try to do is I would try to preemptively get her, like when she starts walking towards the other dog, so, hey, down, and put her in a down. And then say, good girl, call her back to you. So you don't want to get her when she grabbed the other dog by the neck, right? It's just a really rude thing for your dog to have to tolerate a new dog doing that. Now, when Dwayne came over, Goofy would put Dwayne's whole head in Goofy's mouth and drag him around. But that was him. That was very affectionate. And that's what big dogs do to little dogs, to puppies, is to show them that dominance, show them that they're safe. It showed him that, hey, I can put your whole head in my mouth and I'm not going to kill you. And that made Dwayne really trust Goofy, right? But what you're dealing with is a dominance thing. Like it's a rough play thing. It's an assertive thing. I know it's not aggressive, but I want you to look at it from the perspective of it's not fair to your dog. So watch them. When they start to get together, hey, lie down and disengage her from the action. Then call her back to you. Good girl, come here, and then reward that. Do that over and over again. If you can get her before she's doing it, and what I call interrupted behavior, any interruptive behavior corrections always are better than correcting the actual act of what they're doing. So, and thanks for rescuing a dog. It's a very, very nice thing to do. Okay, Hugh, you've asked a lot of questions. David, I think I gave you that. Yeah, I already answered that question. You guys, if you ask the question a couple times, it's hard for me because I can't answer it. I'll probably answer it differently and you'll think I'm crazy. Sane Hansen, says, I train IGP with my 19-month-old Rottweiler. How do I build more strength in the 1 meter jump? She jumps fine on 80 centimeters, but when I go higher, she hits the jump. Well, first of all, people always have to remember this one thing: IGP, Schutzen, IPO, whatever it was called. It's had the evolution of names, and I don't know why they keep changing the names. I think I know why, but I'm not going to say why. It is a sport that was designed for the German Shepherd. Now you'll see that when Malinois enter the sport, they dominate in many ways, right? Like the 1 meter jump is nothing, because in Mondio or French Ring, they're jumping 1.5 meters. That's a lot. That's a lot. But a Rottweiler, it's a hard sport for the Rottweiler. It's a hard jump. Rottweilers don't jump as well, right? So what you don't want to do, you don't want to do the stupid thing of e-collaring the dog to get him to jump higher. And you don't want to do the weighted vest gimmick for jumping. Now, if you're going to do anything, condition the dog, good stretching, good core training, work on some of those fit paw exercises that I like. Work on building endurance, building strength in the dog, do some pulling exercises, build those muscles, and then come back. But don't keep the jump at the 1 meter. Bring it down to the 80 meters where he's comfortably jumping. Then go to 85 centimeters, and then go to 90 centimeters, 95 centimeters until you get to the meter. That's going to be an easier picture for your dog. You need to build the strength separate from the jump. You're not going to build it on the jump. I would make sure the dog is flexible. Look up some good stretching exercises. You can do weighted things, but make sure it's not jumping. It's like running. Do some pulling exercise. You want to build that back end in the dog, because that's where they're jumping from. They're jumping with that back end that's springing them forward. That's the way I would do it. I hope that helps. Chad. Got a obsession with tail. GST 6-month-old started right after neuter. My dog wouldn't have neutered. But the obsession has gotten out of hand. A bad obsession. Yeah. Well, the problem with those obsessions is if you don't stop them early on, they're locked in. They're hardwired in. So the only thing I can tell you is when the dog's doing it, correct. And I do a very firm correction for that. That's one thing. Now people are gonna say, oh, do you e-collar the dog? I might, but I also make sure that I can grab that dog and say, hey, down, right? Here's the thing. If your dog is spinning around trying to chase his tail, he's going to eventually catch that tail and he's going to tear it up. He's going to chew it halfway off. I've seen that. It's really, and the way they fix that, sadly, is they cut the tail off. Now you got a dog without a tail who's trying to chase something that's not there, and he's still obsessive about it. So I use a firm correction, and I make sure that a dog understands no, down. And if I say it once and the dog doesn't listen, then I physically step in and make the dog down and stop. So that's what I would do, especially with a 6-month-old dog, if I know him and I could trust him and he's not going to bite. Let's see here. Okay. Maddie, you have way too many questions. It's really sad. Yes, it can be. It can be very effective to use a prong collar, but used properly. Again, everything is about using properly, using things properly. This is a trick. Shelters are high stakes. If the tools work in those situations, they are proven. Well, here's the thing, Justin, that's true. And I think you're kind of referring back to what I was talking about with the tools I've used. And I wish I could have used e-collars and prong collars in the shelters. The problem is the animal rights nutcases ruin it. And they only want positive only training. Then they want vegan dog food. They're completely insane. And I've dealt with these people for over 10 or 12 years. A lot of them are very nice people. I think all of them start out leading with their hearts and then they become radicalized. And I have a really big issue with that because it costs dogs their lives. By the way, for those of you who don't know, my robertcabral.com website has 2 different courses. There's a monthly course for really great dog training lessons that are updated constantly, and there's tons of lessons there. And I also have a new course, if you want to be a dog trainer, called Shelter Dog Training, and that is on robertcabral.com, or you can just go to shelterdogtraining.com as well and check out that course. It's an amazing course. It's 150 plus videos, 25 plus hours. Half are lectures and dissertations and theory. The other half is practical training, everything from behavior to problem solving to play groups, how to put 10, 15 dogs in a play group. Lots of great stuff. Let's see, I've only got time for a couple more questions. Annette, I can't say your last name. What flea tick med do you use? Also, which heartworm prevention meds do you use? Thank you for all you do. Well, I'm going to give you two sides of it. Goofy and Maya didn't do well on flea and tick medicine, so I use a natural spray called Cedar Side that works really well. Janet has both Dwayne and I don't know if Jimmy still on? No, Jimmy's not. But Dwayne's out a lot. I mean, he's out in the fields doing hunting stuff. He's on Bravecto, and Dwayne has done very, very, very well on Bravecto. And I know some people can say, "Oh, my dog died on Bravecto. Oh, my dog had a seizure on Bravecto." Now, I'll give you this example. Goofy and Maya did not do well on Bravecto. Dwayne does fantastic on Bravecto. So we have him on that, and he doesn't get. I mean, he doesn't get. He might bring one flea home and jump on me, but he doesn't. There's never been a flea on him since we've used it. And heartworm we don't use because we don't have heartworm out here. So, but that was a very serious thing. So people who are very, very radical and say, "Oh, I won't vaccinate my dog. I won't do this, I won't do that." Well, then you run the risk of your dog dying of something or getting Lyme disease, which is a very painful disease for dogs as well as for people. You got to check it out. Okay, naturally you're new to the channel. Well, welcome to the channel. Okay, Rodrigo, I have not seen a question for you. Using a choker chain, should I change to a prong collar? I don't know. It really, really depends on what you need. Prong collar is a nice tool. Used properly. Watch my videos on it. Go buy one. Try it on your dog. See how your dog responds to it. If your dog responds better to it, then use it. If your dog does not respond better to it, stick with the choke chain. That's simple as that. I can't. When I see the first time I get a dog in front of me, Janet always sees this. I always bring out a choke chain, or slip lead. That's my first go-to tool. I want to see the dog in the most pure way before I bring any other tools in. I don't ever take a dog and automatically put an e-collar on the dog. And I love e-collars. I think they're the best tool in the world used properly. I love prong collars. I love to be able to have a plethora of things to use, but it doesn't mean I'm going to use them. But I don't want anybody taking my rights away to use it. That's it. Simple as that. Try it. If it works, great. And if it doesn't, it doesn't work. Okay, Sylvia, I don't think I saw. Oh, no, I did. Can you corrections on a 3-month-old for potty training? Does it register at that age? Yeah, it does. I'll tell you what you do with if you have a young dog, even an 8-week-old dog, get a newspaper and wrap it up really tightly. And I mean, really tightly, so it's going to hurt. And then what I do is I usually tape it so it'll hurt even more. And then I wait for the dog to pee in the house or poo in the house. Doesn't matter what's going to do. And I take that newspaper and as firmly and as hard as I can, I bash myself in the face with it because it's your fault. You cannot correct a dog for pooing or peeing, a puppy for pooing and peeing in the house. They don't know what they're doing wrong. It's your fault. You need to confine the dog in a crate and bring the dog in and out, in and out. And if they have an accident in the house, clean it up. Don't make a big deal out of it. Bring the dog outside. That's it. I think that's going to be it. I got to take 1 or 2 more questions. Let's see here. Okay, Rob says he's got a question mark, but says no question, just something funny. I followed your brilliant speak video. Now my Patterdale Rafts stops barking because she knows I'm asking her to bark. That's a smart dog. That is a smart and funny dog. Zara Dinas. My dog reactive GSD does better when in a tight heel, but I see you put Sonny on a loose leash. I have ordered a prong because I feel the slip is too harsh a correction. Should I just stay on slip? I mean, I don't know. If you ordered the prong, why wouldn't you try the prong? I would certainly try the prong. But the thing is, it doesn't matter where the dog is. If the dog is in a tight heel, he's next to you. But what I say is don't use a tight leash. That's a big difference. I don't want tension on the leash. That's the difference. So let's see. Okay, this is another one. Jacqueline Marie, 2.5-year-old German Shepherd, barks at anything and everyone at a perimeter of property until they are out of sight, which is okay. But when I say stop, no, etc., I want her to stop. How do I get her to stop barking? Well, here's the thing, Jacqueline. Most people, when they say no, it's just a conversation. If you say no more than once or twice, then you're not enforcing the no. But there has to be a repercussion for the dog not listening. Like if I say sit and the dog doesn't sit and I say no, the next thing coming is a physical manipulation, either me pushing the dog's butt down, me correcting the dog on an e-collar or something like that. If you don't have the ability to do that, then don't say no. You must be able to correct the dog. No means a correction is coming. That's it. Let's see here. Looking through. I hope you guys are enjoying these chats, by the way. Oh, good. Janet's got one. Which one? Little Feather. Okay, Little Feather, I don't think you got a question yet. So let me get this one off of here so they don't think it's this one. This is from Janet, pointing this one out to me. Little Feather says, if a dog is focused on playing fetch, because this is our way of bonding, and it's focused on the ball, how do you correct the dog if another dog approaches and my dog reacts like resource guarding? That's an excellent question. One is I don't allow, I try not to play fetch with my dog or another dog. Now, if I have a toy and I'm throwing a ball for a reward for Goofy or Maya and another dog tries to step in, it's just going to be a problem. But what I do is I have a strong recall. In other words, my recall is stronger than the dog's drive for a toy. And the reason for that is because the ball somehow goes across the street or somebody throws a ball across the street and my dog goes after it and I say, no, here, my dog's going to come back. So I always have at least 2 toys with me. So if I throw a toy and the dog goes after the toy and somebody else gets it, then I would go, no, here. And they would come back towards me and I would have another toy. And then I would put them in it down and I would go get the toy, the first toy that the dog went to get. You don't want dogs to work that out. And you're better off to lose that toy to another dog than for your dog to get in a fight over it. But that's probably one of the best questions that I have had. So is there any other questions? I'm going to go through here from people who haven't gotten a question yet. I don't believe so. I'm looking through, I'm scrolling. I want to take the last couple of minutes, and again, I'm going to tell you, I will be at the International Association of Canine Professionals Tuesday at 10:30. I'll be doing a speech. I'll be there for a little while, and I'll be saying hi to people. I hope that you will come. I hope those of you who are here, who are members of the IACP, will say hello to me. I'm very honored to be there. I'm flattered. I don't know, like I always say, I don't know why you guys want to meet me or see me, because you see me so much on YouTube. I think you'd be sick of me, but again, I'm very flattered and I'm humbled by it. I don't take those things lightly. I don't take your membership to my membership section, your subscription to my YouTube channel. Every single one of you guys who have subscribed to this channel, almost 250,000 now, I'm honored you're here. I've built this channel with blood, sweat, and tears over many, many, many years. And I've never gone to the clickbaity, wacky dancing bear kind of a content, because I don't like it. I think it's really stupid. I don't bring politics into my chats because you're here to escape that. There's nothing I hate more than going somewhere to see a ball game or a concert and somebody starts talking about politics. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. When you come here, it's all about dogs. You're welcome here. I don't care what your beliefs are. You're here to help your dog, to learn more about dogs. My page, my channel, my site, my information is a reprieve from the nonsense and divisiveness that we see in the world today. We can all get along. We love dogs. And I thank you guys for letting me be a part of your dog training. I'm honored to be here. I thank you. I hope to see you at the ICP if you're there. If not, I hope to see you at the next live chat, which will be when I come back. It'll probably be in a couple of weeks. And I can discuss everything about the ICP with those of you who weren't there. Please, those of you who are here for the first time, hit the subscribe button. Be sure to be notified of my upcoming videos. There's new videos all the time. There's a new video yesterday. There'll be another one coming up next week. And for those of you who want to learn more about dog training, check out my website, robertcabral.com, for all the best online dog training available anywhere. God bless every one of you. And I'll see you next time.